should be right back. Oh, jeez.
Grinning Colossus.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so here's my idea, right? I realized this while we were talking. I don't think we have to make a boss for this. I think what we have to do is provide like an outside constraint to the battle. And I don't know exactly how we're going to do this, but Bolfus obviously rewards you being able to hold off for a certain number of turns,
Yeah.
right? So I think at the beginning of the battle, there should be a precondition of holding out for a certain number of turns, and then it should switch to another objective. And during that time, you can change mounts.
Mm.
So like it'll,
Well, that makes with that design sense, that makes it very obvious which mount you should be using when,
but
and
but I
if you
think
pick wrong, you're punished for it.
but I think we can make it so that these individual encounters have different, like, even if Bolfus is the natural choice, right? There could still
Mm.
be a reason to use Garcelle or a reason to use Ralikara.
That would be kind of like killing people before they could kill you.
Yeah, one of them would be killing the front row faster. One of them would be killing the back row or being able to attack the back row. And then one of them would be being able to hold out better and hold the front row.
Well, it could be something like um, if you know, hold out for, let's say, like 5 turns or are able to kill their front row, and their front row just keeps getting fueled by bannermen.
Hmm.
And then if you could beat the challenge of being the front row, that's great. But if you pick Bullfist, chances are you're trying to hold out.
Maybe it changes depending on which mount you pick at the beginning of the encounter.
That makes sense.
But then we're developing 3 encounters. Well, the third
Well,
encounter is like the finale of the demo,
yeah,
probably.
like it's as far as I know, your boss battles are going to be like the big kind of the most interesting battles, or at least the most divergent battles. Um, and in most games, they're the most important things that you're doing in the game. Like not even just narratively, but gameplay wise, they're meant to take everything you've learned throughout the entire game up until that point and test it and challenge you as a player, and your knowledge of the game
Right.
in interesting ways. So this should kind of do the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe the third encounter should be like third encounter. Animus. Okay, I think I know how to do this. Animus, Recollect, and Realm Guard. The third encounter will give you 3 level ups. It'll be like a marathon battle. Marathon battle. This encounter will change depending on which mount you choose first. The first stage of this encounter will change depending on which mount you choose first. Period. It is the. I guess you're asking for it. No, I don't want to riot chaotic prayer. Don't bully me. It is depending on which mount you choose first. It is the final encounter of the demo. It could be. I know. I know it is chaotic prayer. Bolfus. Hold out for a set number of turns before your reinforcements arrive. The enemy front row is very scary. Kill it first. And then Garsail. Enemies with a lot of endurance or enemies in the back row. Okay. Demo schedule. Small script finish. So finished. Ability icons. So ability icons should be done. Garsail animation should be done, but probably are not. Mount animations and mount systems probably are not done. Okay. You still here, JJ?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were gonna go get food.
No.
Okay, so
I'll
here's
finish up what I'm drawing right now, so.
here's what I've got for the 3 mounts right now, just for preliminary sort of encounter design. The first is Ralikara. Their front row is going to be really scary, so you'll need her damage. Attack target enemy in range, add damage before equal to the last instance of damage taken by Ralikara is her first ability. And then her second ability is when she's summoned, she gains 2 stacks of dash, and she can use it as a free active whenever she moves to attack an enemy on the front row. So you'll want to burst down the enemy front row, because that's what she's good at doing. I don't know why you would want to burst down the enemy front row, or what sort of value you're getting out of it, but that's what I was thinking we would try for her. The second, I think, with Bullfish should be like a hold out for a set number of turns before your reinforcements arrive. And then with Garsail, I think it should be enemies with a lot of endurance, or enemies on the back row, or enemies requiring AoE or DOT of some sort to kill. Whichever encounter you choose first. Whichever encounters are not chosen are combined for the second part of the battle. Period. Which is when you'll be able to switch mounts. So if you have the holdout for a certain number of turns until your reinforcements arrive one, then you will have reinforcements for the next part where there will be really scary enemies on the front row and scary enemies on the back row. And then if we have like a last part of the battle, perhaps the reinforcements from Wolfus carry over to the demo if this isn't it. Period. Huh. Trying to figure out like what else there is to do. Do you guys on the in the chat have any ideas for this, or do you think we're on the right track? I think it could be interesting this way. It'll definitely allow for variance that we need. What I'm worried about is that if we present this as what the game's going to be like in the demo, that maybe players will think that every encounter is going to be tailored to their skill set, which I don't think we could really do.
Well, right now your kit, the number of things you have to work with are very limited. So if it's not tailored to what you have to work with, it can feel unfair or poorly designed.
Yeah,
Uninteresting.
I agree with that.
Like I said, if like there's a thing where there's a bunch of strong guys that you have to kill and you're a tank and you're just kind of sitting there staring at them like, what do I do?
Right.
But like if you had a tank and a DPS, then it would feel a lot more important to have the tank there. But since you only have yourself, it's not like.
Okay. I suppose I agree with that. You're right, Gigi. Why are you always right? And thank you, Dirterzer. Appreciate that. Uh, I think it'll be nice. I don't know if 3 encounters will be enough, but it is a demo. And like if the third encounter feels climactic and fun, then after you've learned how to play, then we'll leave people wanting more rather than wanting less. Difficult for the actual game, yes, definitely. Yeah. I don't know if we'll be setting ourselves up for people to have an expectation that the whole game will be like that, but I think people are like, especially when they play RPGs, more willing to just play against enemies that aren't tailored necessarily to the abilities they have. RPGs are almost like an ability cinema sometimes, where it's like, oh, this ability looks so cool, I just want to use it a ton, and it feels good to use it. There will be no way of avoiding encounters except for the nodes that you can move to. We might not even have a system for you to run away from encounters. I haven't decided yet. We probably will add that because a lot of games have it, and it seems like a good feature. But, it could break the immersion somewhat. And I don't know if we'll be including nodes in the demo, like at least world travel nodes, if we'll be able to with the time that we have. We're definitely trying to add it, but I'm not sure at this point. We're 1/4 of the way through the time that we have before now in October, or we're beginning the end of our first quarter of production. I think we're already a little bit behind. Yeah. Well, we're really going to try and add it because we'd like to. I mean, I think it's necessary for people to understand that there's going to be an overworld map and they're not just limited to the point and click interface of a town. We just don't want to we don't want that overworld map to feel empty. We'd rather have like a big bustling town that doesn't feel empty at all, and end the demo with you moving out onto the overworld map or something like that. The text reduction version 2. JJ, did you ever read through the ability text document I sent you?
I was reading it while we were working on it.
The one with all the updated wordings for things?
I don't know what you're referring to.
You remember how we were talking like a little while ago about how you needed a document that had revised wording for all of the abilities so you could put it on? Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
I
you can put it
finished.
on the website
I
and in
finished that.
portfolios for the Cavalier.
Right.
Okay.
If you get the
It,
chance.
it should be easier as we go through because I think near the end you were probably already doing some of this stuff.
Yeah. Thanks for the feedback, Dirter, sir. Name, mage, race, human, design, basic, fireball, bruiser, basic, pummel. That's awesome. I'm glad that some small way we're encouraging you to keep going with the stuff you're working on. It could be nice. One of the immense benefits I think of working in an office environment, especially like a game development office environment, is that there are a lot of people around you who are working. So the norm becomes that you are working and other people are working rather than that you can just do anything you want. So we're working from home, I think, is a little bit distracting.
You should drink a cup of coffee.
I probably should. I'd like to go make some coffee.
It's what helps me focus whenever I have trouble working from home.
Just last year, mage, bruiser, bannerman.
Alright, I gotta go eat.
All right, go eat, buddy. Thank you. Counting the box. Design of everyday things. Universal principles of design. I'm gonna switch back to looking at this until the team meeting. Yeah, I would. I mean, if I could afford an office, I would love to have an office. It'd be so nice. Would love to have an office. Here we go. Confirmation. Confirmation is a technique used for critical actions, inputs, or commands. Classifier is called slips. Actions. Are you sure you want to delete your save? Yeah, it's a confirmation. Consistency. According to the principle, systems are more useful and learnable. Context, learning things quickly, focus attention on aesthetic, functional, internal, and external. First, consistency of meaning and action. Functional consistency improves usability and learnability by enabling. The person who designed the yellow light on traffic lights is just a genius. Fantastic. The person who decided that there shouldn't be internal consistency across all yellow lights was an asshole. I think all yellow lights should last the same amount of time. Functionally consistent with one another. External consistency refers consistency with the environment. Excuse me. Yeah. Smart. Tendency to perceive objects as unchanging despite changes in sensory input. To perceive objects as constant and changes by change. Person viewed at a distance. Smaller image on the retina than the same person up close, but the perception of the size of the person is constant. A person viewed at a distance produces a smaller image on the retina than that person up close, but the perception of the size of the person is constant. Gotcha. We know that they're larger even though they're farther away. Constant properties. We need to interpret those objects more. Process. Size of objects is perceived to be constant, even though a change in distance makes objects appear larger or smaller. All senses exhibit constancy to some extent. Consider the tendency when designing high-fidelity renderings. Changes in properties like distance change permanent. Despite their apparent differences, the pair of circles within the grid blocks have the same color and brightness, a fact easily revealed by covering the area surrounding the circles. A method of limiting the actions that can be performed on a system. Software controls constrain the options that can be selected. Two basic types. kinds of physical constraints are paths, axes, and barriers. Paths convert applied forces into linear, curvilinear motion. Axes convert applied forces into rotary motion. Barriers absorb or deflect applied forces, thereby halting, slowing, or redirecting the forces around the barrier. Reducing the sensitivity of controls to unwanted inputs and denying certain kinds of inputs altogether. The reason I'm looking at these things, guys, is because I need to learn as much as I can about UI for this week as possible before I go into creating the UI framework for our demo. Because we're going to be putting the ability buttons into something. I'm just trying to figure out what that something is going to be. Just limit the range of possible actions by leveraging the way people perceive them through symbols, conventions, and mappings. Use constraints and design to simplify use physical constraints. Paths, axes, barriers, symbols. I like how they group these two. Someone had a sense of humor. There's contours over objects with sharp angles or points. Effects for observing both male and female subjects. Suggest an innately rooted contour bias in humans. More complex, however.